She married him to save her sister, and ended up discovering what no one could imagine. Luciana was a young woman full of dreams, working hard to support her little sister, Emilia. After their parents died in a tragic car accident, life hadn't been easy, but Luciana had promised to protect Emilia no matter what. One day, Emilia fell gravely ill. The treatment she needed was expensive, far beyond what Luciana could ever afford. Desperate and terrified, she knocked on every door, tried every option, but nothing worked. That's when he appeared. Gabriel Alvarez, a powerful, cold, and enigmatic millionaire. He had everything: money, influence, a lavish lifestyle, and a mysterious interest in Luciana. One day, he made her a proposal she couldn't ignore. "Marry me, in exchange, I'll pay for your sister's entire treatment." Luciana couldn't understand why a man like him would want to marry someone like her. There were rumors about him, whispers of betrayal, a hidden past, and a family tragedy no one dared to speak of, but Luciana had no choice. She couldn't let her sister die. Through tears and trembling hands, she said yes. The next day, a contract was signed. The wedding would be in 1 week. No one was to know the truth. To the world, they'd be a normal couple, but behind closed doors, it was just a deal. As the week passed, Luciana stared at the dress hanging in her room, a dress meant for love, but now a symbol of sacrifice. What she didn't know was that by stepping into Gabriel's world, she wasn't just saving her sister's life. She was stepping into a maze of secrets, lies, and a truth that would turn her entire world upside down. The wedding day arrived faster than Isabella had imagined. The dress was beautiful, the venue extravagant, and the guests were important figures from the elite world she had never belonged to, yet inside, she felt like a stranger to her own life. Gabriel stood at the altar, composed and unreadable as always. He didn't smile, nor show any emotion when she walked down the aisle. It was as if he was marrying her out of duty, just like she was marrying him out of desperation. When the priest asked if she took Gabriel as her husband, she hesitated for a brief moment. Her heart screamed no, but her mind thought of Sophia lying in a hospital bed, so she said yes. After the ceremony, they shared a silent ride to their new home, a grand estate outside the city. Inside, everything was cold and sterile, no photos, no warmth, only luxury. Gabriel gave her a quick tour and led her to her own room, separate from his. "This is your space. We'll keep appearances in public, but privately, you're free to do as you wish, as long as you don't interfere with my life," he said without making eye contact. Isabella nodded, trying not to cry. That night, she lay awake staring at the ceiling, asking herself what kind of life she had walked into. The days that followed were just as cold. They attended galas, charity events, and dinners together, always looking like the perfect couple, but behind closed doors, Gabriel was distant, sometimes disappearing for days. But one evening, Isabella stumbled upon something she wasn't supposed to see. She was walking down the hallway looking for the kitchen when she heard voices coming from Gabriel's office. The door was slightly open. Curious, she peeked in, and what she saw froze her in place. Gabriel was talking to a man in a suit, handing him a large envelope. "She can't know the truth. If she finds out what really happened to her father, everything falls apart," Gabriel said. Isabella stepped back, heart racing. Her father? But he had died in an accident, hadn't he? Suddenly, the fake marriage wasn't the only secret in her new home. Despite their new life together, Sophia often felt like a stranger in her own home. Javier was polite, even generous, but there was a wall between them that neither could break. Every night, they dined in silence, and every morning, he left early and returned late, avoiding questions about his whereabouts. Sophia tried to stay focused on her purpose, helping her sister. Elena's treatments were progressing well thanks to Javier's financial support, and that gave Sophia some comfort, but deep inside, unease grew like a shadow. Who exactly had she married? One rainy afternoon, Sophia was cleaning the study when she found a locked drawer in Javier's desk. She knew she shouldn't pry, but curiosity won. Using a hairpin, she carefully unlocked it, and inside, she found old photographs, newspaper clippings, and a document with a different name, Emilio Vargas. Confused and alarmed, Sophia started to piece things together. Was Javier hiding his true identity? Why the fake name? Why had he agreed to marry her so easily? The next night, she confronted him. "Who are you, really?" she asked, trembling. Javier's eyes darkened. He didn't deny it. Instead, he whispered, "I never wanted you to find out like this, but now that you know, everything will change." And just like that, Sophia realized that marrying him had placed her in the center of something far more dangerous than she had ever imagined. Sophia's heart raced. Her husband, Javier, or Emilio, or whoever he truly was, stood before her with a look that chilled her to the bone. She took a step back, her voice barely audible. "Who are you?" Javier sighed, and for the first time, the mask he always wore seemed to crack. "My real name is Emilio Vargas," he said, walking slowly toward the window. "I changed it years ago. I was part of something that destroyed people's lives." Sophia felt her legs weaken. "What do you mean?" "I used to work for one of the most powerful corporate families in the country," Emilio admitted. "I was their fixer. When someone became a problem, someone poor, someone inconvenient, someone who stood in their way, I was the one sent to handle it. I obeyed every order. I didn't ask questions." He paused. Rain tapped against the windowpane like a ticking clock, then he turned to her. "But one day, I met a woman. She had nothing, but she fought like she had everything. She was protecting her daughter from being evicted from a slum the company wanted to demolish. I tried to scare her off. She didn't budge." Sophia's voice was barely a whisper. "What happened to her?" "She died, hit by a car, a coincidence the company covered up, and I realized, I was the monster." He looked at Sophia with shame burning in his eyes. "I left that life, changed my name, swore I'd make things right. That's why I help people now, anonymously. I thought, marrying you would just be another transaction, but then I saw who you are, your strength, your loyalty to your sister. You reminded me of her." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. The man she thought was cold and distant had been carrying a mountain of guilt, and trying, in his own broken way, to seek redemption. But one thing still lingered. "Why didn't you tell me the truth from the beginning?" "Because I didn't want you to see me as a criminal," he replied. "I didn't want to lose the one good thing I've had in years." Sophia stood in silence. Everything had changed, but one thing was clear: the man she married was not who she thought, and yet, maybe he was more than she had ever imagined. As the days passed, Isabella began to notice subtle signs that something about Leonardo didn't add up. He was respectful, distant, but always kind, too kind for a man rumored to be cold and calculative. She remembered one night when she accidentally walked into his private study. He quickly hid a folder, but not before she saw her sister's name on one of the documents. Curiosity turned into urgency. One evening, while Leonardo was out on a business trip, Isabella carefully broke into the study and found the folder again. Inside were medical records, documents, and letters. What she uncovered changed everything. Leonardo hadn't forced her to marry him. He had paid her sister's entire medical debt without ever asking for anything in return. He had even arranged for one of the best doctors in Europe to treat her. The marriage proposal. It was her father's idea, not Leonardo's. Her father had begged him to marry Isabella to give her and her sister a better life, and to save the family's crumbling reputation after falling into debt. The worst part? Leonardo had written several unsent letters to Isabella, revealing his love for her long before the wedding, but he had never dared send them, afraid she would reject him if she knew the truth. Tears streamed down Isabella's face. She had judged him, misunderstood him, and now she was falling in love with him for real. Isabella couldn't sleep that night. Leonardo's letters still trembled in her hands, stained with her tears. She felt a knot in her chest, part guilt, part confusion, but also something else. Love. The man she had once despised had sacrificed everything, for her sister, for her family, and for her, and she had treated him like a stranger. The next morning, she walked downstairs and found him in the garden, his back to her, staring at the flowers he had planted in memory of his late mother. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" she asked, her voice shaking. Leonardo didn't turn. He knew what she meant. "Because I'd rather you hated me, than feel like you owed me. I wanted you to be free, even if that meant you would never love me." Isabella walked closer, placing the letters gently on the bench beside him. "You didn't buy me," she said, her voice stronger now. "You saved me, and I never even realized it." Leonardo looked up, his eyes dulled from years of pain and silent sacrifice. She knelt before him. "I don't know if I deserve you," she whispered. He finally turned to face her, broken but alive. "You never had to." And for the first time, Isabella saw the man behind the silence, and she held him, not out of guilt, but out of love.